Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to IP Days from Vision to Practice Driving Innovation in Adult Education. I am Dr. Nicole Howard Rice. And before we get started, I want to do a few housekeeping rules. Let's just make sure that every attendee, we already know our mics are muted, that we're in listen mode. The recording will be available within the first 48 hours, and everything that's shared here will be archived and available on IP Day. And if you have any questions or anything you'd like to add, you can just place them in the chat and we'll have a good time there. And now our agenda today is we're going to talk a little bit about defining innovation in adult ed. And then we're going to shift into identifying the vision to practice gap. And then we're going to talk a little bit about using data to drive program improvement. And we'll talk a bit about building systems for sustainable innovation and then action planning for leadership implementation. All things that we know to be true, we know about, but we're going to see if we can kind of add something new to those areas to continue to grow our programs. So since we're here, let's get to it. Innovation starts with leadership reality. And we all are leaders in some way, shape, or form. If we talk about the reality of leadership, we have to talk about the strategic priorities around that and what that looks like for us. Learner engagement, program implementation, the staff's capacity, and workforce alignment. Now, innovation in of itself, the idea of it sounds exciting more often than not. But when you start really getting to the idea of managing staff shortages, which we see a lot within adult education, learner persistence concerns when educating adults, enrollment challenges that we face, compliance requirements, workforce expectations and how the marketplace shifts on a regular, funding limitations, all of these things at the very same time, it requires us to like dig deep, pause, and think about it. And think about what the impact of innovation is actually going to be in true practice from vision to actual implementation and practicum. In us doing that, we always, more often than not, have a lot of ideas. Everybody, we come with a lot as educators, but the innovation imperative in adult education deals with the things that we just listed: learners, the learner needs, and the rapid evolution of such needs, workforce expectations, and the shift within that realm, which I'm sure we're all walking that out in this season. Programs that must adapt and be more agile, be more mobile, be able to shift. And this happens sometimes when we have new teachers. New teachers sometimes bring in certain levels of agility because they're learning, they're new. And other teachers, or some other teachers who may be more veterans in this area, they've seen quite a bit within the pendulum. So sometimes the innovation comes well with collaboration. And when I say sometimes, I really mean all the time. That collaborative piece is essential. Programs with leaders must translate vision into actual action. When we look at the slide deck in front of us, we see that more often than not, I don't know how many, maybe you might want to tell me in the chat if your site has some kind of pad tech device that they give to students. When the teacher is teaching science, are you actually using practical materials to educate the learners so that they can grasp the concepts? And then we see within the marketplace, you see that has shifted, and all of those pieces impact the innovation imperative. I want us to keep that at the forefront of our mind as we continue to walk through this session today. You all know that I like engagement within the chat. So please feel free to ask questions, throw out ideas as we're going, as we grow together as practitioners. So the core problem, we've been talking about that a little bit. Strong ideas at the top. Most leaders at the top, they have big vision for their program, big ideas. When you get to the participatory action of that pyramid, the people who actually do the work, sometimes there could actually be some type of gap where execution can come across not as strong within that overall system. But help is on the way. We have the inconsistent classroom experience sometimes. And then we have limited measurable impact sometimes. Because that is the case, when implementation becomes inconsistent, learners become inconsistent as well. How many of us have actually seen, and you can be honest, this is a safe space. How many of you have experienced, you start out strong at the beginning of the term or the beginning of quarter, or however your program is run, and by week 5, you're finding that you're not getting exactly what you thought it was going to show up with the learner and with yourself as you are executing through the innovative ideas that you had at the beginning and the way you plan the program to roll out. Let me know in the chat. And good afternoon, Washington, D.C. Good afternoon, Dallas. Good afternoon, Avon Park, Florida. Good afternoon, NYC. Oh, we've got a whole bunch of people here today. Like is there anything in the chat? Anybody want to add something? Okay, looks like I have 2 more. Yes, okay. Where innovation breaks down, where does it break down in your program? Think about that. I want you to reflect on it honestly. Is it the learner-centered innovation where you have the breakdown? Is it operational innovation where you have the breakdown? Is it instructional innovation where the breakdown happens? Or is it the response to the new workforce and the expectations around it? I'd like for you to let me know in the chat, where do you find the innovation breakdown in your program? It's a safe space. I'm waiting for you in the chat, okay? The lack of psychological security, operational and instructional. Operational. I should also add instructional. Okay. Instructional. Some of our students have digital literacy issues and we aren't always able to provide additional. That's a big one, the digital literacy element. I want us to keep that at the forefront, operational and instructional. Okay. So if we're gonna take the data from what was shared in the chat, our key pillars are going to be operational and instructional. And then there was something that was very important that was mentioned, and that's the digital literacy. I have a glitch here. I guess my finger's moving too fast, guys, on my laptop. So you'll see me kind of pause, but I'm with you. Defining innovation clearly. Now, if we're going to take what we discussed, the operational element and the instructional element and the truth, the transparent comment about the digital literacy element, let's talk about what it actually means. Innovation is not going to be about us doing more. I know that you all are doing every single thing you can at your sites and within your programs, no matter where you are in the world, to teach your learners and to teach anyone that comes through that door everything that you have as it relates to the latest and the greatest. It is doing what matters better, faster, and more consistently is where we need to maybe continue with our improvement. What does that look like if you actually were honest with yourself? If I and I'm thinking about myself too when I was teaching and when I was leading programs, what could you do differently that would positively impact the operation element if you're a leader and the instructional element if you're a teacher? Let me know. Using what you already have. I'm already in the chat. I'm waiting for you. What would you do? If you're a leader operationally, and if you're a teacher or a coordinator by way of instruction, what would you do better, faster, and more consistently? Not adding more. You need a little time to type? Okay, I'll come back. Oh, I see someone. That's a great idea. As a leader, I would create 360 feedback. That's a great idea. Create clear directives and expectations. That's key because we're only as effective as our leadership. Need barriers removed to enable the team to be able to move the needle forward. Oh, that's something that I think someone else within our session today may be thinking the same thing. If you didn't mind elaborating, but if it made you comfortable a little bit more there, that would help. I think not only you, but I'm sure to help 10 more people that are on this call because we're all around the world today. Buy-in and direct involvement of the team to build systems, processes, and assume responsibilities according to their strengths. That's fabulous. Buy-in is key. You need at least 80% buy-in for anything to continually to progress forward. So that's key. Direct involvement. You're going to need that engagement of the team to build the system. So what do we do to ensure that everyone feels as if what they're contributing is of value? That's what's going to help to improve your buy-in. And then it also reads the process and for them to be able to assume responsibility. That's where the participatory decision making process comes into play. If you're not familiar with that, go ahead and look that up and allow that to be a part of the process. When there are individuals who do not fully understand the vision of the program, systems break down and restricts growth. Okay. This was a hot topic, I see, and I'm so glad that we're talking about it. There's something to be said about when a person doesn't fully understand a vision. As leaders, sometimes when we have grand ideas or we have this vision for what we want our program to be, we may or may not communicate the way we learn. And if we communicate the way we learn, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes we may miss a few people in the room. Who in here will dare to say that when they communicate their vision to any new teacher, any new admin, executive assistant, any new program coordinator, any new person that you bring on board, any additional leader, that you yourself know that you do 110% or 100% each time delivering what the vision is without breakdown? Who would dare to say that they do that every single time consistently without breakdown? Or who would say that maybe they could improve in that area as a leader and or a coordinator if they oversee teachers or support teachers? Let's use the word support. Thank you so much for your transparency because that's where the growth happens right there. That's where true vision and innovation meets practice. Here you are. Our program innovation vision is you've got one to two sentences. Well, let's take 2 minutes and do that. Our program innovation is, and then I'm going to show you what I just did. I'll wait for you. I don't see you all saying anything in the chat. You know why? Because I wasn't clear. I told you what I wanted you to learn by the way I delivered it, but I didn't tell you exactly what the expectation was. We're going to be in a quick application about what we've been discussing. So within the chat, I'd like for you to say, take your vision in your mind and say, our program innovation is, and then finish that sentence. 1 to 2 sentences only. Clear communication, clear, clear communication about what my expectation was, what the vision was for us. I'll wait. I'm meeting you in the chat. I'm already there. Excellent. I truly appreciate the active participation and engagement. Together we get there. I'm waiting, guys. That's right. So our program innovation vision is to become a workforce aligned program. That's very relevant to the current marketplace. Our program innovation is to really become more cohesive as a full team from the top down. That is what it's about. Collaborative play. Our program innovation is teamwork, clear communication, simple systems to be executed across the board. Oh, you all are typing good. Our program innovation vision is to focus less on traditional seat time and more on obtaining concrete stackable credentials. Yes. Our program innovation vision is to make it easier for our students to take advantage of the opportunities available to them. Yes. Our program innovation vision is to create greater results. Yes. Introduce workforce for ESOL. Yes. To empower lives and to strengthen communities and to redefine adult education. Oh my goodness. Vision without execution is just language. Now that we've talked about what you want to see, and those visions were pretty clear, I want you to pause for a second and really think about what you put in the chat. Are those established goals, established visions, or are those visions that you all just thought about and you created right there? Let me know in the chat. That's going to be important for where we're going. Okay. Okay. Thank you for your transparency. Okay. Oh, that's fabulous. You just establish improving upon. It's the transparency today that I think is going to make all the difference in the way we do adult and community education. Because it's the honesty as the leader and as the person that has direct impact over the learner that shows us exactly where we need to work and where we have already been successful. Now that we've explored our implementation challenges, we've talked a little bit about what our vision looks like, where we are with our vision, whether it's established, whether we reworked it while we're on this session, or whether it's the first time we even had the idea to create one. We're going to shift now into one of the most important parts of the leadership tools, and that's that data informed decision making element. Which level, which level is the hardest to gather the powerful tools around data? Which level? Is it the leadership element? Is it the program element? Or is it the classroom element? Mm, leadership, leadership, classroom, the students can be inconsistent, leadership, program, classrooms. So you all are across the board on this, and this is based on who's in the room. How many who's it? How many are teachers and how many are leaders? Program levels, because that's where leadership, vision, classroom needs, staffing, data, and resources all have to come together into a realistic plan. That is correct. That's a bucket. That is correct. So what we have teachers here. Who else is in this room? Program leaders, teacher here, leader, 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 leader. Office staff, leader. How are we with, okay, because leadership is hard to gather data around, classrooms are consistent by nature when you're dealing with adult learners because we have so many elements around the adult when they enter the room. The coordinator has an expansion of tasks. The leader has an entire responsibility of that covers safety, that covers the programmatic instructional data, that also covers budget. So there's a lot around the expectations for each category of running a successful program. And because that is the case, it's all about us identifying support systems. Can you all state whether or not you have a strong support system in place for said categories: leadership, program, or classroom? And or classroom. Do you have strong systems or can you grow there? Yes, you have strong programs, or yes, you can grow there. Thank you for your transparency. Okay. Program needs growth. Both have and can grow. Okay. Hard to really know if you have never worked elsewhere. Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. Exposure is essential. So because we're so transparent today and we're talking about what we need, where we're going, and what we've already done. Example in action. Increased digital readiness is going to support us in our expansion of the data. and us recruiting and establishing and receiving quality data. Let's the practical example, let's look at that first here. Let me close the chat for just a tick. I'll be right back. You see this system on the screen? This is our current world in academics. You see the different versions of classrooms in adult ed? And this is different versions of classroom, different versions of learning in every area of academia. But for the sake of this session, we'll restrict ourselves here in thought. You have collaborative learning happening in one area. You have group-centered learning on a project. 1, 2, 3 rows down on a table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. You have a teacher lecturing up at the top. Then you have on the other side of the world, you have the working marketplace. You have the learners that are in class learning. You have the leaders that are leading said programs. You have the marketplace changing. You have leadership data that you have to derive. You have classroom data that you have to derive, and you have program data that you need to gather. You have inconsistency in the classroom because adult learners are transit. We know that. We have leadership that shifts because we also know that leaders transition and they go and grow and they move into different areas, and then somebody has to replace them, just being honest. And then you have teachers who are also transit for whatever that particular reason is. So how do we take that in our digital age, considering the vision statements that you all developed, considering the areas of improvement that you have at the forefront of your mind based on what we've discussed? The question then becomes, what does this actually look like in real time in your program? It may involve you doing more, learning more about the digital literacy element, because that was something that was mentioned earlier. How many of you all feel confident in that area? You're going to tell me in a minute in the chat. How do you feel about the professional development? Do you feel that you're being developed professionally to the degree of the expectations that are placed upon you currently, given the element of academia currently, as well as what's happening in the marketplace and all of the different ladders and areas in between? Do you feel that you're being developed to the degree that's going to present you as feeling successful within those particular spaces? Are you open to, if you're a leader and if you're a teacher leader or a teacher who is also a leader, are you open to creating those opportunities for learners to practice digital elements and digital tactics within your classroom? We kind of talked a little bit about this in our last session about positioning our learners, whether that be the learners in the classroom or for the leader, the teachers that you have staffed for your programs, putting them in position where they can practice digital elements authentically so that they can be more or feel more prepared for the rooms that they have to be in and the rooms that they have to serve. Who can say that they've worked on that or they're working on that as it relates to professional development? Who can say that they're doing that? Or that's an area that you can improve in? We know the goal isn't just technology for technology's sake. It's to prepare that student and prepare that teacher and prepare that leader to be successful from academia to practicum. The practicum is in the marketplace. Tell me what you have. I'm in the chat. I'll meet you there. Are you typing? Okay. Digital readiness has to be built into the whole program, not treated as a separate computer lesson. That is correct. For instance, it requires leadership data, curriculum data, support, student practice, and clear outcomes. That is correct. What data plat are you using to support you in that capacity, in that truth? Because that's the truth. Someone else typing it, and let me read what the leader is speaking to. They're speaking to not dealing with the digital element in isolation, which is a brilliant statement to make, because that's where we are. If it's not all encompassing, it needs to be integrated as if you were integrating a pencil and a piece of paper. It needs to be everywhere. We are building a program but need greater buy-in from our instructors. I'm going to be very candid with you and say that that does not surprise me. And I'll tell you why in a second. Not always that simple, because you don't know where the student is going to end up working. They may need one type of digital literacy over another. Okay, I think that that's a very fair statement to make. Let me address the buy-in element for the instructor, and then I'll come back to that in a from a broad general perspective, but something that you can take back to unpack for sure. As it relates to the teachers, and sometimes the hesitancy around buy-in, more often than not, as leaders, when we think about this, people typically don't buy in for a few reasons. They're either not confident about, or not either not confident or not aware of how it's going to benefit them in the long term, not confident in the fact that they don't know the subject matter to the degree that will allow them to feel secure enough to say yes to whatever is being suggested, or as a leader, as a teacher leader, sometimes people feel as though their current contributions are not being honored enough for them to feel comfortable enough to embrace something else. So we have to almost, as leaders, triage the environment to see why the buy-in is not as present as we need it to be to move forward within a project, a vision, or a level of impact in which we are currently trying to embark upon. As far as it as and so I hope that I was able to hear you, understand the idea, and provide some level of feedback forward around the contribution that you made to the chat by sharing such an honest response. And then not always as simple, because you don't know where the student is going to end up. That's very true. This would be an idea for you to consider further and ponder. Um, I understand that the marketplace has an exceptional amount of variation. In our preparing the learner, what we could do is identify the foundational elements that the learner would need for success across platforms, and introduce those foundational elements to that learner, so that learner would have a strong base on how to begin to think critically, to understand the variation in learning management systems that they would be asked to learn for different roles and different career opportunities that they're going to be exposed to as a result of leaving your classroom and or graduating from your program. So the foundational elements are going to be key here. I hope that I was able to support you a little in your thought around the change in that way. Let me know, please. It's important. And you have my email is always provided if you wanted to follow up with me. So the data being reframed, we've discussed our vision. We've discussed some of the programmatic hiccups around leadership, program development, and classroom data. We understand that we're effective from the top down, but that everyone is an active participant. Now that the data is reframed, data is a leadership tool, not compliance. That's very important. Very important. Because a lot of the times within the classrooms, and if you've done this for quite some time, it begins to feel like data is aligned, directly correlated with compliance. Is it the essential? Yes. Unfortunately, but fortunately, yes. The numbers let you know exactly where you are. And because you have those numbers, we need strategic moves. We have a strategic blueprint that can be used across boards. If you don't work directly in adult ed and you're on this call, you can use this as well. A strategic blueprint for adult education transformation. So cultivate systems of agility. That means have a strong system in place, but don't be afraid to update it. Update it if you have to. Your mind cannot be fixed to the degree that whatever you have, it has to be that no matter what. Evaluate the delivery models. Get into the classroom, see what's happening. Be able to diagnose your current reality with your cultivation of systems. Evaluate your delivery models. See if it's working or not. Test it out. And be okay with that. If it's something that you need to rework, be open to reworking. It's no personal reflection upon you. It's a system. And the system has to work for all parties involved. You need 80% buy-in for something to work ahead. So be open to that always. Adjust when necessary. Develop an action roadmap. Do we have an action roadmap? Do you have one? Think to yourself. If you don't, write this down and begin to make some notes and bring it up in your next meeting. Address and be sure that everyone feels a part of the process. Ensure that everyone there has some level of innovation within their mindset so that it can support them in overcoming any kind of internal resistance. Let's go over this one more time. Let's cultivate systems that are flexible enough for you to continue to move around. Monitor your progress. Make sure it's personalized, but make sure you're monitoring it. I know we get busy, especially as leaders and teachers in the day-to-day. And even if you're in business and you're on this call, you get busy. Sometimes you get caught up in the minutia of business. Make sure that you have a solid, concretable action roadmap. What is happening here? What are we doing? Is it clear? Does everybody understand it? Does everybody feel a part of the process? Ask those questions to yourself and then ask your team and ask your peers. And then address to ensure that everyone feels a part of that. Does anybody here, let's go to the chat and see, does anybody here have something similar to this already in place within your program? If you do, please let me know in the chat. That's good. Does anybody here find this helpful? Are you finding this session that we're having today? Are you finding it helpful for you when you're planning forward? I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. This is how we get better. We get better when we're together and we're building and we're thinking and we're honest. That's what I love so much about every attendee. You all trust the environment enough to be as honest as possible. That's where real growth begins, and that's how you are able to have positive impact with the people you are charged with serving. Thank you so much for that. So practical data examples: attendance. Attendance in adult education, attendance in the current marketplace, attendance in business, attendance everywhere we are has shifted. The expectation of attendance has changed. What that really looks like. People are able to work in a hybrid environment, so that brick and mortar attendance isn't always the expectation. You've got asynchronous learning, synchronous learning happening. So everything's different now. Engagement skills. What what was expected when I was learning is very different. The engagement that was required, that presented as positive engagement, is very different than what is considered active and positive engagement now. So what do the engagement skills look like now within your programs, within your organizations, within your classrooms? Curricula completion. Looking at the curriculum, listen. In adult education, in some of the programs, a teacher may have 2.5 to 3 hours with the student after he or she's coming from their day job. They don't always have the time. So because that is the case, they don't always have the time to have a full idea, a plan readily available. Because that is the case, as a leader, there needs to be a person that's designated, and it may be the leader. It may be the program leader, the principal, the assistant principal, the director of the program. It may be that person has to identify a centralized curriculum that can be used every day by the teachers that are staffed to support them so that they are able to plan more efficiently for the learners that they are called to serve. And then considering the program design. There's no one size fits all model here. You have to look at the people that you're called to serve as the leader programmer, as the program lead, as the coordinator, as the teacher. You have to get together and look at who you're serving, and you need to develop a system that supports them, that would ultimately support the design that you all established through the vision that was developed initially forward, so that the data reflects it to some degree in seam of where you all are headed. Someone should be able to come in, have a snapshot of your program, walk your campus, and be able to make correlations. If you can't say yes today to that, then it's time for us to get together and build back differently. You notice I didn't say better, I said differently. Because what you are doing, without a shadow of a doubt, is the best that you know to do to date for the learners and the people that you are called to serve. So we would not say better, we would always say different. And it is my hope that that is something that you adopt, if that's not the term that you are using within your program, because I know that you all are working hard. So, innovation in action. Tell me where you are right now before we get to this slide. Tell me what you're thinking about. We've talked about vision. We've talked about our data and reframing it. We've spoken about our leadership, our program, the development. We've talked about gaps within that. Now it's time for us to really lay it out here and take the ideas around the innovation, trying to think of ways for students to be more engaging during live sessions. Okay, we can talk about that a tick. Innovation in action. Digital literacy integration. So the question is going to be, the first question is, under digital literacy integration, do you have within your programs an adult specific learning management system that your students use? Adult designed, adult outlined, adult curriculum embedment. Are you all using that? Yes or no? Let me know. Digital literacy integration. Are you using an adult online platform? Okay. Who else has something? What I mean by adult is there are some learning management systems that are I can't use I don't want to seem biased, but I'd like for you to speak with someone about that. There are adult learning management systems that programs are able to buy that are designed specifically for the adult learner so that they don't have to adopt or adapt to information that's being served or given to students that are within the pre-K to 12 system, but are specifically for adults. Those are I see someone mentioning one of those partners within the chat. I don't want to say them, but if you look within the chat, someone is speaking to one of those platforms. Anyone else like to before we move into the workforce alignment? Okay, while you're typing, correct, excellent. While you're typing, I see you in the chat. The workforce alignment piece. How many of us have a solidified workforce alignment product that you're using or a curriculum that you've used with full implementation, integral implementation for the learners that you serve? And if you're in business and you're on this call, are you using a system that supports you in identifying the strengths of your staff? Okay. Okay, that sounds good. Let's think about flexible models. So my question is, are you all cemented in the way that the information is delivered to the learner or even to the teacher or even to the employees on your team or within your organization? Are you cemented in that line of thought, or are you open to trying a different? Are you flexible in your delivery model based on reading the room? Yes or no? Let me know in the chat. That's fantastic that you don't have a submit within that ideal. As differentiation is going to be key. Differentiation and personalizing the learning for the adult that enters the room is going to make all the difference in the world as it relates to success. And that's across the board. That is correct. That's you can't, because if as a person that works with adults, when you think about how you operate, where you are most successful, that will help you to always maintain a line of open thought around personalization and differentiation of anything that you are, any level of information that you're sharing with someone else. And then the instructor capacity in our last tier here. What are we doing to build up the instructor? What are you doing as a teacher to build yourself up, to prepare yourself for that room, to be able to expand the classroom or to expand the program level or to expand the leadership level? What are you doing for yourself? We're only as effective as our leadership. Let me see what we have in the chat. Are we still talking over here? We've gotten a little quiet. That means we're growing. Let me see. I see two people coming. Let me come back over here. We've got a few minutes. We're gonna speed through participating in PD like this one. Oh, I'm so glad you're finding this helpful. We need to schedule more professional development for our instructors. That's gonna be a game changer. I participate in various trainings, not just specific to my role, but the roles of my staff. That is correct. That's a game changer. You have to know what other people are experiencing. We've been providing lesson plans, supplemental materials, and training professional development to our instructors. That is game changing, and I'm sure that the data is revealing exactly what's happening on the campus or within the organization. Everything that you all are saying is what needs is not only relevant, but it's also empowering as a leader and as a teacher and as a person working with other humans, building human capacity because of the world in which we're currently living in. This is where partnership, strategic partnership shines. Mutual growth can happen right here. Innovative solutions. This is where they are birthed in environments where people feel safe, enhanced to reach. People need to be reminded that it's safe to reach again. It's safe to share your resources with each other. This is why I promote us communicating within the chat because what if you see someone else say something and you were thinking it but you didn't get a chance to say it, you feel better because you can jot it down. You can jot down the name. You get so much freedom when we communicate with each other and we pool our partnerships strategically to ensure that everyone involved is impacted to the degree that they can go back and invoke change for the positive, for the people that they're called to serve. This is fantastic. We've discussed staff ownership, we've discussed uh, feedback, we've discussed programmatic development, we've discussed the importance of professional development, we've discussed the idea and the hope and the importance of clear communication. We used an example where I communicated something not so clear and then no one responded in the chat, and then when I came back and clarified it intentionally, then there was movement, because sometimes it's not that people don't want to participate, they just don't understand what you're asking. So just ensuring that we're being clear about our expectations and what we mean and what we need. The innovation in fracture. We talked about this, guys. Feedback loop, staff ownership, leadership clarity, visibility is what wins. Get out, spend time with the people. No matter what your role is, spend time with the people you are called to serve. Ask the hard questions and position yourself, plant yourself enough to be able to hear it, hear the whole thing, not hearing to respond, but hearing to learn and to empathize with their experience so that you both are able to grow. So our reflection and action planning, one priority, which is what? Put it in the chat. What's your number one priority when you leave? That one action that you're gonna do, that you're gonna do differently. One data point that you're going to go back and review to see if there's a more impactful way for you to utilize the data that you have or how you derive data going forward. And is there a stakeholder that you were not considering as much before the session, but going forward you will? If so, let me know in the chat. Go ahead and drop it in the chat. I'm waiting on you. We're doing a quick recap. And I have to know that you feel comfortable and that you're ready to hit the ground with our 4 strategic elements. I'm here. Today we explored what innovation means while you all are typing. Today we discussed the vision to action gaps, and thank you so much for sharing so freely. We discussed sustainable systems that you can put in place. This slide deck will be shared on IP Day, as we know, within 48 hours. And we spoke a lot about leadership and action planning. Work on body. Oh, excellent. Come on, get to typing, guys. Yes. Create customized, engaging activities. Be proactive. Yes. And evaluating some of the practices instead of wait. That's get to the forefront of it. That's right. Excellent. One priority moving forward. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad you found, I'm so glad you were able to make the separation. Yes. Yes. And that the vision element is so important. Action using the Google Classroom consistently. That Google Classroom is a game changer. I'm going to tell you that. That data point assignment, fantastic. And do it in an environment with lunch. Make sure you have lunch when you're explaining the vision. Sustainable systems, that is correct. Become an expert in sustainable systems without cementing yourself within a system. Be flexible enough to make the changes where necessary. Anyone else? I mean, fantastic group. Fantastic group today. I thank you all so much. Again, I'm Dr. Nicole Howard Rice. Every question you have, every comment, everything you've ever said, it and will say, if you send me an email or anything, it matters. I care and I do respond. So right now it's time for you to give a little feedback about our talk today. Go ahead and be sure to answer this feedback survey. It's very important for IP Day, very important for data, very important to myself. This is how I continue to grow and get better and better and better and better every day and work differently when necessary, when required, and as a part of my positive impact in which I seek to do on a daily basis. So please feel free to take care of that feedback survey as we speak. Before we go, one more thing. June the 9th, 2026, if there has a gamified learning for skill growth and motivation and persistence webinar, that's a Tech Tuesday webinar. You're not going to want to miss that. You're not going to want to miss that. You're going to want to be present and ready to get all of the resources you need, because gamification is the new piece of teaching the learners that are coming into your classrooms now what they need to be successful today and tomorrow. So make sure you're there. Make sure you're ready. I want to thank you all again so much. I hope that we had a great time together. Oh, no, thank you. Thank you so much. I will make sure that that link goes out again if you didn't get it, about the upcoming Tech Tuesday. It should be in rotation. Thank you all for everything that you all shared today. I am who I am because of who you are. So I thank you so much for everything that you shared today. And I pray that I was able to give you something that you can take back to build your program better. You all have a fantastic rest of your day. Fantastic. The information helped you. I'm so appreciative of that. Until the next time I see you, or if I see you in an email because you had a question, you take care of yourself and continue to do all the great things that you have done for the learners, the teachers, the program development, and as leaders, the service that you provide each and every day. Together we get there.